First Contact. The day Earth made first contact with an advanced alien civilization was supposed to be humanity's greatest triumph. Instead, it became a humbling lesson in galactic politics and the harsh realities of being the new kids on the cosmic block. Dr. Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the International Space Station, her heart pounding as she watched the sleek, silver spacecraft approach. Its hull gleamed in the sunlight, unlike anything humans had ever constructed. As head of Earth's First Contact Protocol, Elena had spent her entire career preparing for this moment. Yet now that it was here, she felt woefully unprepared. "They're hailing us, Dr. Reyes," announced Commander Chen, his voice steady despite the tension evident in his posture. Elena took a deep breath. Opened the channel. A holographic screen flickered to life before them, revealing a being that looked almost, but not quite, human. Its skin was a pale lavender, with large, almond-shaped eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said, its voice melodious and without any hint of an accent. "I am Ambassador Zorax of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and with an invitation to join the greater cosmic community." Elena's prepared speech caught in her throat. This wasn't just first contact. This was an invitation to a party humanity didn't even know was happening. In the days that followed, Earth was thrown into a whirlwind of activity. News of the alien arrival spread like wildfire, causing equal parts excitement and panic. Governments scrambled to present a united front, while scientists and linguists worked around the clock to facilitate communication and understanding. Ambassador Zorax and his delegation were polite, but Elena couldn't shake the feeling that behind their smiles lay a hint of condescension. It became more apparent as they began to share information about the Galactic Confederation. "Your species has made remarkable progress," Zorax said during one briefing, his tone reminiscent of a teacher praising a slow student. "To achieve spaceflight and rudimentary AI in mere millennia is quite impressive for such a young race." Elena bristled at the backhanded compliment but held her tongue. Earth needed allies, not enemies. As weeks turned into months, humanity's initial awe began to wane. The Confederation's technology was centuries, if not millennia, beyond Earth's capabilities. Their ships could traverse galaxies in days, their energy sources were clean and virtually limitless, and their medical advancements bordered on miraculous. But with each revelation came a subtle reminder of humanity's place in the cosmic hierarchy. During a tour of one of the Confederation's ships, a junior alien officer snickered at the sight of an iPad. "How quaint," he remarked to his colleague. "They still use separate devices for different functions." Elena's fists clenched at her sides, but she forced a smile. "We find specialization has its benefits," she replied diplomatically. The final straw came during a Confederation summit, where Earth was to be formally introduced to the galactic community. Elena and a small delegation of world leaders stood before the Galactic Council, a diverse array of alien species from across the universe. As they presented Earth's case for membership, murmurs and chuckles rippled through the assembly. One counselor, a being that looked like a cross between an octopus and a tree, raised a tentacle. "While we welcome Earth to the galactic stage," it said, its voice translated through advanced AI, "we must express concerns about their readiness. Their technology is primitive, their planet's ecosystem is on the brink of collapse, and they have yet to achieve unity among their own species. Perhaps a probationary period would be more appropriate." Elena felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment and anger. She glanced at the human delegation, seeing her own emotions mirrored in their faces. President Alvarez of the newly formed Earth Union stepped forward. "With all due respect," Alvarez began, her voice firm, "humanity has overcome countless challenges to reach this point. We may be young, but we are eager to learn and contribute. We ask for the opportunity to prove ourselves as equals, not to be treated as children." The council chamber fell silent for a moment before erupting into a cacophony of alien languages. Ambassador Zorax raised a hand, silencing the room. "The council acknowledges Earth's potential," he said smoothly. However, we must also consider the stability of the Confederation. We propose a compromise. Earth will be granted provisional membership, with limited voting rights and restricted access to advanced technologies. This status will be reviewed in one standard galactic cycle. Alina's heart sank. A galactic cycle was equivalent to nearly 50 Earth years. 2 generations would pass before humanity could hope for full membership. As the human delegation left the council chambers, Alina overheard 2 alien diplomats conversing in what they thought was a private channel. Their translators were still active. Can you believe they still use combustion engines for some of their vehicles? One said, its gelatinous form quivering with amusement. I heard they've only recently begun to harness fusion power, the other replied. It's like watching infants discover their own fingers and toes. Alina had heard enough. She quickened her pace, catching up to President Alvarez. Madam President, she said in a low voice, I don't think we can trust the Confederation to treat us as equals. We need to be cautious. Alvarez nodded grimly. I agree, Dr. Reyes. But we're in no position to challenge them openly. We need to play their game while working to strengthen our position. Over the next few months, Earth walked a diplomatic tightrope. They accepted the technology and knowledge the Confederation deigned to share, all while working furiously behind the scenes to catch up. Research and development budgets skyrocketed, and a new sense of global unity emerged in the face of cosmic challenges. But tensions continued to simmer. Each interaction with the Confederation seemed to bring a fresh reminder of humanity's perceived inadequacies. Earth's ships were denied docking privileges at premium ports. Human traders found themselves relegated to the fringes of galactic marketplaces. Even in cultural exchanges, Earth's art and music were often dismissed as quaint or primitive. Alina watched it all with growing frustration. The promise of a grand, enlightened galactic community had given way to a harsh reality. The universe was just as prone to prejudice and power dynamics as any human society. As she sat in her office one evening, poring over reports of yet another diplomatic slight, a notification flashed on her screen. It was a message from an old colleague at NASA, marked urgent. Dr. Reyes, we've detected an anomaly in deep space. It doesn't match any known Confederation signatures. I think we may have found something they missed. Alina's pulse quickened as she read the attached data. For the first time in months, a smile spread across her face. Perhaps humanity had an ace up its sleeve after all. As she prepared to inform President Alvarez of this development, Alina couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. The galaxy had underestimated humanity before. It was time to show them the error of their ways. Little did she know, this discovery would set in motion a chain of events that would forever change Earth's place in the cosmos and challenge the very foundations of the Galactic Confederation itself. Admiral James Harper stood in the cavernous hangar of the Luna shipyards, gazing up at the massive hull of the U.S. Defiant. The old warship, a relic from the early days of humanity's push into space, had been mothballed for decades. Now, it was being recommissioned for a most unusual mission. She's not much to look at, a voice said behind him. Harper turned to see Dr. Alina Reyes approaching, her eyes fixed on the ship. But she's all we've got. Harper nodded grimly. The Confederation won't let us build anything new, and they sure as hell won't give us one of their ships. The Defiant is our best option for this mission. The mission in question was both diplomatic and exploratory. The anomaly detected in deep space had turned out to be a previously unknown alien artifact. It was outside Confederation space, in a region humanity had claimed to under the Provisional Membership Agreement. This was Earth's chance to make a significant discovery and potentially improve its standing in the galactic community. As workers swarmed over the Defiant, updating its systems and reinforcing its hull, Harper couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The ship was old, yes, but it was also a reminder of a time when humanity had been more assertive in space, before the Confederation arrived and relegated Earth to the galactic kiddie table. We're not just sending a ship, Alina said, as if reading his thoughts. We're sending a message. Harper raised an eyebrow. "And what message is that, Doctor?" Elena's eyes gleamed with a mixture of determination and defiance. "That humanity isn't to be underestimated." 2 weeks later, the Defiant was ready for launch. Its crew, a mix of Earth's finest military personnel and civilian scientists, boarded with a sense of nervous excitement. Captain Sarah Chen, handpicked by Admiral Harper for her tactical brilliance and diplomatic skills, took her place on the bridge. As the ship broke free of Earth's orbit, a small crowd gathered in the control room at Luna Base. Admiral Harper and Dr. Rice watched the main view screen as the Defiant approached the Confederation's main hub in the Sol system, a massive gleaming space station that dwarfed anything humanity had built. "Confederation Control, this is U.S. Defiant requesting permission to dock." Captain Chen's voice came through the comms. There was a pause, longer than usual. Then, a reply tinged with amusement. "U.S. Defiant, we're having trouble locating your ship on our advanced sensors." "Oh, wait. Is that the small, antiquated vessel approaching from Vector 227? Harper's jaw clenched. Elena laid a hand on his arm, a silent reminder to keep calm. "Affirmative, Confederation Control," Chen replied, her voice steady. "Request permission to dock." Another pause. "Permission granted, U.S. Defiant. Please proceed to docking Bay 17. Slowly. We wouldn't want you to strain your engines." As the Defiant approached the station, its crew could see alien ships of all shapes and sizes. Each one was a marvel of engineering, making the Earth vessel look like a child's toy in comparison. On the station, word spread quickly about the arrival of the human antique. Aliens gathered at viewport, pointing and laughing at the Defiant as it maneuvered into the docking bay. Captain Chen and her senior staff disembarked, heads held high despite the less than warm welcome. They were met by a Confederation official, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin. "Welcome to Starbase Alpha," the official said, making no effort to hide the amusement in their voice. "We've arranged quarters for your crew, though I must warn you, they might find our accommodations a bit advanced for their tastes." Chen forced a smile. "I'm sure we'll manage, thank you." As they were led through the station, the human crew couldn't help but marvel at the technology around them. Holographic displays floated in midair, doors opened with a mere thought, and gravity seemed to shift and adjust for different alien physiologies. But their wonder was tempered by the reactions of the station's inhabitants. Whispers and snickers followed them, along with looks that ranged from pity to outright derision. In the station's main promenade, a group of young aliens, seemingly in their equivalent of adolescence, approached the humans. One of them, a blue-skinned humanoid with 4 arms, spoke up. "Hey, Earthlings, is it true your ship still uses rocket propulsion? How do you even make it out of your solar system?" His friends laughed, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles that needed no translation. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, the Defiant's chief engineer, stepped forward. "Our ship might not be as flashy as yours, but it gets the job done, and it's got a few surprises up its sleeve." The alien youth scoffed. "Surprises? Like what?" "A slightly more advanced abacus for calculations." Before Patel could retort, Captain Chen intervened. "We appreciate your interest in our technology. Perhaps one day we can arrange a cultural exchange." The aliens walked away, still chuckling among themselves. Chen turned to her crew. "Remember why we're here. We have a mission to complete, and we can't let their attitudes distract us." Over the next few days, the Defiant's crew prepared for their journey to the artifact. They loaded supplies and tried to gather any information they could about the unexplored region of space they were heading into. But at every turn, they faced skepticism and ridicule from the Confederation members. In the station's main briefing room, Captain Chen presented their mission plans to a panel of Confederation officials. As she explained their proposed route and research objectives, she could see the boredom and dismissal in their eyes. One official, a being that looked like a sentient crystal formation, interrupted her. "Captain, are you certain you're..." vessel can handle this journey. The region you're entering can be treacherous. Perhaps it would be better if we sent one of our ships instead." Chen stood her ground. With all due respect, the artifact was discovered in Earth's designated exploration zone. We have the right to investigate it ourselves. The crystal being chimed, a sound that might have been laughter. "Very well. It's your funeral, as you humans say." As the briefing concluded, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that the Confederation was hiding something. Their dismissal of the Defiant's capabilities seemed too pointed, their concern for the mission's success too insincere. Back on the ship, Chen shared her concerns with her senior staff. "They're not telling us everything," she said. "We need to be prepared for anything out there." Commander Lisa Ortiz, the ship's tactical officer, nodded in agreement. "I've been running diagnostics on our weapons systems. Everything checks out, but I've got a few ideas for improvements." "Do it," Chen ordered. "And keep it quiet. I don't want the Confederation getting wind of any upgrades we make." As the day of departure approached, tension on the Defiant grew. The crew had endured days of subtle and not so subtle jabs at their capabilities. Now they were eager to prove themselves. On the morning of launch, Captain Chen stood on the bridge, surveying her crew. Despite the outdated technology around them, she saw determination in their eyes. "All right, people," she said, her voice filled with quiet resolve. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity can do." As the Defiant disengaged from the station, Chen couldn't help but notice the lack of any farewell or good luck messages from Confederation control. It seemed they had already written off the mission, and perhaps humanity itself, as a lost cause. Little did they know, the old ship and its crew were about to embark on a journey that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. The U.S. Defiant cruised through the inky void of unexplored space, its aged hull a stark contrast to the sleek Confederation vessels it had left behind. 2 weeks had passed since their departure from Starbase Alpha, and the ship's crew had settled into a rhythm of constant vigilance and scientific excitement. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair, reviewing the latest sensor data from the region. The artifact they sought remained elusive, but strange energy readings hinted at its presence somewhere ahead. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Rodriguez from the science station, "I'm detecting some unusual gravitational fluctuations at bearing 047, mark 015. Chen leaned forward, intrigued. On screen, the main view screen flickered to life, showing a seemingly empty patch of space. But as they watched, the stars in that region seemed to ripple and distort. "Magnify," Chen ordered. As the image zoomed in, gasps echoed across the bridge. Hidden within the gravitational distortion was a massive structure, its surface etched with intricate patterns that pulsed with an otherworldly energy. "Is that the artifact?" Commander Ortiz asked, her voice filled with awe. Chen nodded slowly. "It appears so. Mr. Patel, bring us in closer, but maintain a safe distance. We don't know what kind of defenses or triggers it might have." As the Defiant cautiously approached the artifact, the crew's excitement was palpable. This was it, the discovery that could change humanity's standing in the galactic community. But their elation was short-lived. Suddenly, alarms blared across the ship. "Captain," Ortiz shouted from tactical. "Multiple ships decloaking around us." Chen's blood ran cold as she saw the viewscreen fill with sleek, predatory vessels that shimmered into existence, surrounding the Defiant. "Red alert. Shields up," Chen commanded, her mind racing. These weren't Confederation ships. Their design was entirely unknown. A harsh, guttural voice crackled over the ship's comm system. "Attention, primitive vessel. You have entered restricted space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Chen's eyes narrowed. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Defiant. We're on a peaceful mission of exploration. We mean no harm." The alien voice laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Your intentions are irrelevant. The artifact is ours. Prepare to be boarded." Chen looked at her tactical display, her heart sinking. They were outnumbered 5-1, and each alien ship appeared to be at least twice as advanced as the Defiant. Options, she asked her senior staff. Commander Ortiz shook her head grimly. Their shields are beyond anything we've seen. Our weapons might as well be pea shooters. But Lieutenant Commander Patel had a glint in his eye. Maybe not, Captain. Remember those surprises I mentioned? Chen nodded, a spark of hope igniting. Do it. Patel's fingers flew over his console. Suddenly, the lights on the bridge dimmed, and a low hum reverberated through the ship. What's happening? The alien voice demanded, a note of confusion in its tone. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Just a systems recalibration. Nothing to worry about. But as she spoke, the Defiant was undergoing a startling transformation. Hidden panels along its hull slid open, revealing state-of-the-art weapon systems that had been concealed beneath the ship's outdated exterior. Fire, Chen ordered. A barrage of energy beams erupted from the Defiant, slicing through the shields of the nearest alien ship as if they were tissue paper. The enemy vessel exploded in a spectacular fireball, catching its companions off guard. Impossible, the alien leader sputtered. How could your primitive technology? Chen cut the transmission. Evasive maneuvers, Mr. Patel. Let's show them what this old girl can really do. The Defiant moved with a grace that belied its bulky appearance, dancing between enemy fire and retaliating with pinpoint accuracy. 2 more alien ships fell to its hidden arsenal before the others could mount an effective counterattack. But the element of surprise could only carry them so far. As the battle raged on, the Defiant took heavy hits. Sparks flew on the bridge as systems overloaded. Shields down to 30%. Ortiz reported, her voice strained. We can't take much more of this. Chen gritted her teeth. They were putting up a good fight, but the odds were still stacked against them. She needed to buy more time. Mr. Patel, can we use the artifact's gravitational field to our advantage? The engineer's eyes lit up with understanding. If we can get close enough, we might be able to use it as cover and amplify our weapon's effectiveness. Do it, Chen ordered. The Defiant dove towards the massive artifact, weaving through enemy fire. As they approached, the ship's systems began to fluctuate wildly. Captain, the artifact is emitting some kind of energy field, Rodriguez reported. It's interfering with our systems, and theirs. Chen saw their opening. Ortiz, target their propulsion systems. Let's clip their wings. The Defiant unleashed another volley, this time aimed at the enemy ship's engines. 2 more vessels spiraled out of control, their systems scrambled by the artifact's energy field. But victory was still far from assured. The remaining alien ship, larger and more heavily armed than its companions, bore down on the Defiant with vengeful fury. Brace for impact. Chen shouted as a massive energy beam lanced towards them. The blast rocked the ship, sending crew members flying. Smoke filled the bridge as consoles exploded. Hull breach on deck 4. Patel yelled over the chaos. Emergency force fields are holding, but barely. Chen knew they were on their last legs, but as she looked at her crew, battered, bleeding, but unbowed, she felt a surge of pride. They had faced impossible odds and given better than they got. All power to weapons, she ordered, her voice steady. If we're going down, we're taking them with us. The Defiant and the alien flagship faced each other like 2 gunslingers at high noon. In the tense silence, Chen could hear the labored breathing of her crew, the crackle of damaged systems. Just as both ships prepared to fire their final salvos, a new voice cut through the comm system, one that made Chen's heart leap with joy and relief. This is Admiral Harper of the Earth Defense Fleet. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. The view screen lit up with the most beautiful sight Chen had ever seen. A fleet of Earth ships, sleek and powerful, dropping out of warp around them. The alien ship, caught off guard by this new development, hesitated for a crucial moment. It was all the opening Harper's fleet needed. A coordinated barrage from the Earth ships tore through the alien vessel's defenses, reducing it to space debris in seconds. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen slumped in her chair, exhausted but triumphant. They had done it. Against all odds, the old ship and its determined crew had held the line. But as she looked at the artifact, still pulsing with mysterious energy, Chen knew their adventure was far from over. The real challenges, and the true test of humanity's place in the galaxy, were just beginning. The bridge of the U.S. Defiant was a hive of activity as damage control teams worked feverishly to restore critical systems. Captain Chen stood amidst the organized chaos, conferring with Admiral Harper via holographic communication. "You arrived just in time, Admiral," Chen said, relief evident in her voice. "Another minute, and we'd have been space dust." Harper's hologram nodded grimly. "We came as soon as we detected the energy surge from the artifact. But Sarah, what you and your crew accomplished here, it's nothing short of miraculous." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "We had some tricks up our sleeves, sir, and a crew that refused to give up." "Speaking of tricks," Harper said, his eyebrow raised, "I'd love to know more about those weapon systems you deployed. They're not exactly standard issue." Before Chen could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out from his station, "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the artifact." All eyes turned to the view screen, where the enigmatic structure pulsed with increasing intensity. Streams of energy began to arc out from its surface, creating a web of light that spread across the starfield. "All ships, fall back to a safe distance," Harper ordered. But as the Earth fleet began to retreat, a shimmering barrier materialized around them, enclosing both the human ships and the artifact within a vast energy bubble. "We're trapped," Chen realized, her mind racing to find a solution. Suddenly, the artifact's surface rippled, and a figure emerged, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and flowing. When it spoke, its voice resonated not through the air, but directly in the minds of all present. "Greetings, children of Earth," the entity said. "You have passed the first test." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. Chen stepped forward, her voice steady despite her awe. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the U.S. Defiant. What do you mean by test?" The energy being's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "For eons, we have watched the younger races of this galaxy. The Confederation, in its arrogance, believed they had found all of worth in this region of space. But we waited for a race with true potential, a race that could face overwhelming odds with courage and ingenuity." Admiral Harper's hologram flickered as he joined the conversation. "And you believe humanity is this race?" "You have shown promise," the entity replied. "Your ship, disguising advanced technology beneath an obsolete exterior, demonstrates a creativity many older races have lost. And your willingness to explore, despite the scorn of others, speaks to your species' innate curiosity." Chen felt a mix of pride and apprehension. What happens now? The beam's form expanded, encompassing the entire view screen. "Now you face the true challenge. The artifact you see before you is a repository of knowledge and technology beyond anything in this galaxy. It can elevate a worthy race to new heights of understanding and capability, or destroy those who are unworthy," Harper added, understanding dawning in his eyes. The entity pulsed in affirmation. "Precisely. The Confederation has grown stagnant, enforcing a hierarchy that stifles innovation and exploration. It is time for a change." With those words, the energy being retreated back into the artifact, leaving the human fleet alone within the shimmering barrier. Chen turned to her crew, seeing a mixture of excitement and trepidation on their faces. "Well, folks, it looks like our mission just got a lot more interesting." Over the next several hours, the combined brainpower of the Defiant science team and the experts from Harper's fleet worked to decipher the artifact's secrets. As they delved deeper into its mysteries, they discovered technologies that bordered on the miraculous. Clean energy sources that could power entire planets, medical advancements that could cure any disease, and propulsion systems that could traverse galaxies in the blink of an eye. But with each discovery came a challenge, ethical dilemmas, complex scientific puzzles, and tests of character that pushed the humans to their limits. Meanwhile, beyond the energy barrier, word of the strange occurrence had spread. Confederation ships arrived, demanding to know what was happening. When they couldn't penetrate the barrier, their demands turned to threats. Admiral Harper addressed the Confederation fleet, his voice firm. "We are engaged in a first contact situation with an advanced species. Any aggressive action on your part will be considered an act of war." The Confederation ships held their position, but tension remained high. As the hours turned to days, the human fleet worked tirelessly to unlock the artifact's potential. Captain Chen found herself at the forefront of many breakthroughs, her quick thinking and leadership proving invaluable. Finally, after a week of intense work and numerous trials, the energy being reappeared. "You have done well," it said, its form now more defined, almost humanoid. "You have shown wisdom in how you approached our challenges, and restraint in the power you've been given. The knowledge and technology of the artifact are now yours to use as you see fit." Chen stepped forward, her voice filled with determination. "We thank you for this opportunity. We will use this knowledge to better ourselves and our place in the galaxy." The being nodded, then turned its attention to the Confederation ships waiting outside the barrier. With a gesture, the barrier dissipated, and the artifact began to shrink, condensing into a small glowing sphere that floated towards the Defiant. "Take this," the being said. "It contains all you have learned and more. Use it wisely, and remember the qualities that brought you here: courage, ingenuity, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge." As the sphere settled into a containment field on the Defiance Bridge, the energy being faded away, its final words echoing in their minds. "The future of this galaxy is in your hands now. Make it a bright one." The Confederation ships, witnessing the disappearance of the massive artifact and seeing the Earth fleet unscathed, began to approach cautiously. Admiral Harper turned to Captain Chen, a smile playing on his lips. "Well, Sarah, it looks like we have some explaining to do. And perhaps a new future to shape." Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing sphere that represented humanity's new destiny. "Indeed we do, sir. And I have a feeling the galaxy isn't quite ready for what we're about to show them." As the Defiant and its fleet prepared to meet the approaching Confederation ships, there was a palpable sense of anticipation in the air. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and humanity, once dismissed as primitive and inconsequential, now held the key to its future. The tables had turned, and a new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. The Grand Assembly Hall of Starbase Alpha buzzed with tension as representatives from every corner of the Galactic Confederation gathered. At the center of attention stood Captain Sarah Chen and Admiral James Harper, flanked by the senior staff of the U.S. Defiant. The humans looked small compared to the diverse array of alien species surrounding them, but they stood tall, buoyed by the knowledge of what they had achieved. High Counselor Zixnera, a being of shimmering light encased in an ornate exosuit, called the Assembly to order. "We are here to address the unprecedented events that have transpired in the restricted zone." Their voice reverberated through the hall. "Captain Chen, please step forward and explain your actions." Chen took a deep breath and moved to the center of the floor. The glowing sphere from the artifact hovered beside her, drawing curious and covetous glances from the assembled aliens. "Honored representatives of the Confederation," Chen began, her voice steady and clear. "What began as a mission of exploration became a turning point not just for humanity, but potentially for the entire galaxy." Over the next hour, Chen recounted their encounter with the mysterious energy beings and the trials they had faced. As she spoke, holographic displays showed snippets of the Defiance battle against overwhelming odds and the subsequent tests posed by the artifact. "The beings chose to reveal themselves to us," Chen concluded, "not because we were the most advanced or powerful, but because we demonstrated qualities they found worthy: curiosity, ingenuity, and the courage to face the unknown. A murmur ran through the crowd. High Counselor Zixnera leaned forward. And the sphere? What exactly does it contain? Admiral Harper stepped forward. The sphere contains knowledge and technology far beyond anything currently known to the Confederation. Clean energy sources that could end resource scarcity, medical advancements that could cure any disease, propulsion systems that could revolutionize space travel. The hall erupted in a cacophony of excited chatter and demands. Several representatives called for the humans to hand over the sphere immediately. Silence. Zixnera's voice boomed, restoring order. They turned back to the humans. Why should we believe that your species, so new to the galactic stage, is capable of responsibly handling such power? It was Dr. Elena Reyes, who had joined the Defiance crew for the return journey, who answered. Because we understand the weight of this responsibility. We've seen in our own history the devastation that can come from misused power, but we've also seen the wonders that can be achieved when knowledge is used wisely and shared freely. She gestured to the assembled representatives. We don't claim to be more worthy than any other species here, but we were chosen for a reason. Perhaps it's because we still have the capacity to dream, to imagine a better future not just for ourselves, but for all. A thoughtful silence fell over the hall. Then, from the back, a voice spoke up. It was Zorax, the ambassador who had first contacted Earth. When we first encountered humans, we saw them as primitive, as children stumbling into a world they couldn't comprehend. We were wrong. Zorax moved to stand beside the human delegation. I've watched them closely since their arrival on the galactic stage. Yes, their technology was behind ours, but their rate of adaptation and innovation is unlike anything I've seen. Where we saw limitations, they saw challenges to overcome. Where we dismissed them, they pushed harder to prove themselves. The ambassador turned to address the entire assembly. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered our assumptions. Not just about humans, but about how we view progress and potential in this galaxy. High Counselor Zixnera nodded slowly. Your words carry weight, Ambassador. But the question remains, what do the humans intend to do with this knowledge? All eyes turned back to the human delegation. Captain Chen stepped forward once more, her gaze sweeping across the assembled aliens. We intend to share it, she said simply. A shocked gasp rippled through the crowd. Chen continued, her voice gaining strength, but not recklessly. We propose a joint committee with representatives from all Confederation species to study and gradually implement the advancements contained within the sphere. Together, we can ensure this knowledge is used for the betterment of all, not the advancement of a few. The hall fell silent as the implications of this offer sank in. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. It started as a low rumble and grew into a thunderous applause. Translated through various technologies into tentacle wavings, light pulsations, and other alien forms of approval. High Counselor Zixnera raised their appendages for silence. This is an unprecedented offer, and one that will require much discussion and negotiation. But it is a noble gesture, one that speaks to the character of humanity. The counselor turned to the human delegation. Captain Chen, Admiral Harper, representatives of Earth, on behalf of the Galactic Confederation, I extend our formal apology for our previous treatment of your species. Your actions have proven that potential for greatness can come in many forms, and that age does not always equate to wisdom. As the assembly adjourned to begin the complex process of forming the joint committee, Captain Chen found herself surrounded by curious and admiring aliens. Gone were the condescending looks and dismissive attitudes. In their place was a newfound respect and perhaps a touch of excitement at the possibilities that lay ahead. Admiral Harper approached, a rare smile on his face. Well done, Captain. I'd say we've managed to shake things up a bit. Chen laughed, the tension of the past weeks finally releasing. Just a bit, sir. Though I have a feeling our real challenges are just beginning. As they watched the diverse crowd of aliens mingling, Discussing the future with renewed vigor, Harper nodded thoughtfully. You're right about that. But for the first time since we joined this galactic community, it feels like we're truly a part of it. Equals, not subordinates. And to think, Chen mused, it all started with an old ship that everyone underestimated. The Admiral chuckled. A bit like humanity itself, wouldn't you say? As the Defiant's crew prepared for their journey back to Earth, carrying news that would forever change their planet's future, there was a sense of both accomplishment and anticipation in the air. They had proven themselves against impossible odds, challenged the established order of the galaxy, and emerged not just victorious, but as catalysts for change. The old ship that had been laughed at now stood as a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive newcomers, had become the bearers of a new age of galactic cooperation and advancement. As Captain Chen took one last look at the bustling starbase, now alive with a new sense of purpose and unity, she couldn't help but smile. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and opportunities in equal measure. But one thing was clear: humanity had found its place among the stars, not by conforming to others' expectations, but by staying true to the qualities that defined them. The journey ahead would be long and complex, but for the first time, it felt like the entire galaxy was moving forward together. And it had all started with an old ship and a crew that refused to be underestimated.